Salvete omnes, this is I'm Amelia, also known as TheMartianGeek, and welcome back to another episode of Mega Man 9. In the last episode, we defeated Concrete Man in all of his cementy glory, and we only have 2 bosses left to fight. So let's take on Tornado Man. He's one of those robot masters where I'm honestly surprised it took them this many games to think of him. As far as his stage goes, it could pretty much be described with the tagline, "Hope you like tricky platforming." Sure, it starts off simple enough, but then they all do. We have a new enemy, these balloon enemies. You can either shoot the top or the bottom. If you shoot the bottom, then the balloon on the top just floats away harmlessly. We'll see more of them later on, so we'll get to see what happens if you shoot the top. But we have more Mets, and we have this magnet platform. The magnet platform is one of the main gimmicks of this stage. If you stand on it, you'll rotate vertically like that, and you can also just jump on top of it if you want to stay on the top. Whoops. And also, don't jump off when you're on the bottom. It's safe enough here, but needless to say, later on they put them over bottomless pits and all kinds of stuff, so yeah, be careful. So if we shoot the balloon, they deflate and fly around wildly. It's kind of silly looking. So here's the first of 2 sections with a lot of magnet platforms. This is the easier one, but it's also the longer one. And again, it's a good time to just jump on the top of the platforms. It might also be a decent idea if you're not feeling confident in your abilities to deal with the magnets to just use Rush Jet to get over it. That timed out badly. This would be a good stage in general for Rush Jet, but I'm not doing it because we're doing it the intended way, or the hard way, so to speak. Whatever. So I wonder if the separated balloons count as separate enemies. Like for the challenge that... I think there's a challenge that requires you to defeat one of every enemy or something. So the sky's grown dark, and now it's colder, and we have ice, for whatever reason. We also have a shield attacker. Yeah, this game doesn't have a dedicated ice stage or boss, but we have a little bit of ice in Tornado Man stage, as well as snow, which doesn't do anything. This might be a decent time to pull out Splash Woman's weapon if you feel like it, because we have a bunch of shield enemies here, and we have a couple more later on. Don't fall on the spikes, thankfully, or don't fall on the spikes. Thankfully, they never combine the ice with anything like the main gimmicks of the stage. This is pretty much the only section with the ice, and it's not that bad to deal with. We also have Sniper Joes. I think this is called a Machine Gun Joe, this variant of it. They're not terribly difficult to deal with, just tedious, as most Sniper Joes tend to be. Again, it would be a good idea to have Splash Woman's weapon, because the Laser Trident can just go right through their shields and not care. This one pretty much can't harm you as long as you don't jump directly into his bullets, which is not easy but is possible. I've done it. Yeah, they're aptly named. Apparently these guys spent a bit too much time playing Toho. You can also get this with the Rush Coil. Good dog. And stay on Rush Coil because there's a hidden item up here. There are also Umbrellas of Doom. These are not the friendly Mary Poppins kind, and Rush apparently can't teleport onto the corners of platforms. There's a hidden E-Tank up here in the cloud. There it is. Yeah, I've never quite been able to figure out what the deal is with Rush Coil and its foreground interaction. You'd think that it wouldn't be as weird in this game because it's relatively modern, but apparently that's not the case. But now here is where things start to get a bit tricky. Honestly, pretty much all of the difficult parts of this stage are after the midway point, which is kind of annoying because it means you have to start over from there a lot, and you're kind of dealing with the gauntlet here. But we have this rain effect. It'll push us backward as long as we're in the air. Thankfully not when we're standing on platforms. There are a lot of single tile wide platforms around, and if that were the case, this part would suck. And we have the second magnet section. The thing about this one is it's kind of... that timed out badly. It's kind of tricky to reposition yourself on the magnets with the rain effect going, because you go backward, and then that can mess up your jump distance and stuff. But yeah, we're back here, just confirming that this is indeed the checkpoint. Didn't want to start over from here, but I suppose it happens. Like I said, if you're not really good at your platforming skills, you're gonna start over from that point a lot. 1, 2. Almost jumped into the bullets, but corrected just in time. 3, 4. I don't think you can shoot him in the feet in this game. You feel some rush coil. So, second verse, same as the first. I forgot to mention that some of these clouds have invisible platforms behind them. Some of them just get in the way, or rather, make it so you can't see the umbrella enemies as easily, so they can sneak up on you. I wouldn't suggest trying to speedrun that section. I mean, you can, but it's kind of one of those where you want to take it slowly and carefully. Ooh, I almost did the same thing again. But only 4 magnets to deal with that time, and thankfully we're done with them for this stage. Now I just have to not die in the rest of it, because now the rain's going other way, which seems like it would be a good thing, because it increases your jump distance. But, first of all, rush coil again, because there's a 1-up here that we definitely want in this stage. So yeah, we can jump farther now, but we still have single tile wide platforms to deal with. The bane of every platformer. And there's a good example of an umbrella attacking you from out of the cloud. And a good example of why you don't really want to rush those sections. Blech. Okay, got 4 good hits in on him. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad that they don't combine the ice with the rain or the magnets or anything like that. That would be bad. Would it be quicker if I stood on this platform? Less safe, but I'm getting impatient here. The stage will do that to you if you die enough times. Well, on the plus side, you really don't have to worry about taking damage too much unless it knocks you into a pit. This is one of those stages where if you're gonna die, it will almost certainly be to an instant death hazard. Like, if you're good enough to stay on the platforms after getting hit a bunch of times by the umbrellas and the balloons and stuff, you're probably also good enough to just avoid them. And once again, that didn't time out very well. Oh, nope! I realized my mistake too late. I should have just tried jumping on the top. How many lives do I have left? This is my last one. Well, we'd better darn well make it this time, is all I can say. Yeah, one person talked about Mega Man 9 as having stages where there's always at least one part where suddenly the difficulty would just spike to insane levels and then it would be back to normal for the rest of the stage. I don't know if Tornado Man's stage really has that. It has difficulty spikes, but they're like entire swaths of level. Like pretty much everything after that second Machine Gun Joe is difficulty spike. And that was close. I also don't think every stage is like that. Like, I can't think of what the extra hard part of Galaxy Man stage would be. Unless they had trouble with the... Well, why are we talking about Galaxy Man stage anyway? It's Tornado Man time! As tempting as it is to rush jet over this part, I'm not gonna do it. Like I think I said, though, this would be a really good stage to use rush jet if you feel like cheesing it. Okay, beware of umbrellas. That bolt is probably not worth it. I imagine I could get it, but I just don't want to take a risk, especially since the boss door is literally right here. So we have full health, but we don't have any extra lives. Let's really not die to Tornado Man, shall we? So, as you might guess, he makes tornadoes spawn. And except for the first attack, it seems like he always alternates between being on the ground and then spawning 2, and then going into the air and spawning 2, or 2 sets rather. He always creates them in groups of 4. And while they're on the screen, your jump height is increased, which may or may not be a good thing. As you can see, there are spikes on the ceiling, so don't jump into them. So that's the second one from the air, and he wants to get up close and personal. I'm not really sure. Oh, we only did one that time? I'm not really sure what the best way to avoid the tornadoes is, if you could lure them to one side of the screen or something like that. They cover a huge part of the screen, so, or huge section, rather. And Mega Man, don't jump into those spikes. I'm kind of curious if you actually could die while getting his weapon. Like if you used a level editor to move those spikes down one or something. You got a new weapon. Tornado blow. This is our screen clear weapon of the game. Sadly, it doesn't have very much ammo. It takes 7 units of weapon energy per shot, so you can only use it 4 times. But it also increases your jump height just like Tornado Man's tornadoes did. And will stay in slot 7, which is already occupied because I accidentally forgot to hit the record button once. Whoops. But yeah, phew, that stage was, like I said, kind of something. One of the more difficult ones for sure in Mega Man 9. But we beat it. And we only have one Robot Master left to go. We will take him on next time. So I'll see you then.